it back up. I didn't even stop it.
Okay. As you know, I'm Tessa Hughes, and I'm from the Corn Valley Assembly of God, and I will be talking about hunger. In Matthew 4, verse 2, Jesus fasted for 40 days and nights while being tempted by the devil. Can you imagine that? Walking in the desert, hot, on an empty stomach, cranky, drowsy, aching, an aching hunger trying to dictate your every move and thought. Extreme hunger. I'm sure most of us would have buckled under the pressure by then. Jesus didn't. But he experienced something that every human on earth can relate to. It makes babies cry, toddlers complain to their mothers, and adults get irritable. Hunger is a universal thing. Just like we experience physical hunger, each person also has a spiritual hunger. There's a void, a hole in our heart that can only be filled with God. We are not complete beings. Some try to fill this chasm with short-term things, like even good deeds, significant others, drugs, money, feelings, but these don't offer security. They're only temporary. Because they change at any moment, yet people always refer to them. Like our bellies always need to be full, so do our spirits. 1 Corinthians 1:9 explains that God has called us into fellowship with him and his Son, Jesus Christ, who is faithful. We are called to fellowship with God. We were made to be united with our Maker. Without him, we are not complete. In each one of us, there is a longing, a desire, an intense hunger to fill the void inside of our souls. On the other side of the spectrum, God, eternal, has a limitless supply. He is omniscient, all-knowing and understanding, omnipotent in all places. He resides everywhere, and transcendent, above and set apart from his creation. Psalm 147:5 says, "Great is our Lord, and mighty in power. His understanding has no limit." God has an infinite peace that we can't. This verse reminds us how great and mighty our Lord is, and that he understands everything. Reasons, explanations, why we do what we do, how the world works, he knows it. Philippians 4:7 says, "And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Jesus Christ." God has infinite peace that we can't begin to fathom. He is always here, even if the situation isn't peaceful. The Lord has never-ending understanding and peace, but also love, mercy, grace, faith, goodness, compassion, joy, patience, faithfulness, control, kindness, and many other things. And the best part is that it's all for us. It's all available for us to take. All we need to do is ask and receive. Yet God knows what we need even before we ask it, according to Matthew 6:8. He's got what we need all packaged up before we even ask for it. What an amazing God. He is fully ready and willing to satisfy our void. So, with an endless need that we have and a limitless unconditional supply that he has, it's pretty simple and makes sense. And there's no cost but your obedience. But the first step to completing completing your void is the hardest, though. You have to recognize your own lack and admit to it. Everyone has faults, as Romans 3:23 says, that we have all fallen short of the glory of God. Not a single person doesn't need what the Lord has to offer. Then the second step is to allow that limitless love, mercy, grace, and peace, and all of the Lord's blessing into your heart and let it transform you. He is ready to give it. Now all you have to do is receive it. Ezekiel 11:9 says, well, anyway. It tells us that we have a saturated heart, that God took out our heart of stone and put in a heart of flesh. That means we are complete through God, that we hunger no more, and that the void in our souls has been filled with what God has. We're complete with something that lasts forever. What could be better? A person can live without food for about 8 weeks as long as they have water. That's 56 days of intense suffering, weariness, irritability of not having anything in your stomach but water. That's absurd. I have a hard time missing breakfast most days. And I certainly don't want to miss out on what God is trying to teach me. John 6:35, I will close with. It says, Jesus declared, I am the bread of life. He who comes to me will never go hungry, and he who believes in me will never go thirsty. Well, there you have it. Are you living in hunger? Do you not feel satisfied? Is there a void in your heart that you're trying to fill with temporary things? Well, maybe you need a change in your diet.